Welcome to another video. Let's get right into it. Bitcoin is going up a bit today, and the reason is because of the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz by the US. So let's look at Bitcoin. First of all, Bitcoin is still trading in this sideways moving pattern. If we zoom in a bit here on the 4-hourly, actually let's go on the hourly, we can see that actually Bitcoin has gone down 2 times since the weekend. First, it has gone down because the US-Iran peace talks have actually failed, and then it has started going down again here because actually in the morning yesterday, the US announced that they're gonna be blocking the Strait of Hormuz, and there was uncertainty. Now the blockades have started, and this has caused the prices to go up again. The S&P 500 has gone up, Bitcoin has gone up, as we are seeing that the blockades are coming into place and is giving the market security again. So before I talk about this quickly about Bitcoin, then we go into the news. Bitcoin has 3 open CME gaps. These are the gaps that are formed over the weekend, and they are filled most of the time. We can see right here, this from last weekend, the gap is all the way up here at $73.3 thousand, and looks like we're filling it right now, and we're gonna most likely fill it. But then there's 2 more gaps here. One at the bottom, 67,000, and then we have one more here at 69,000 and 67,000. Now into the news. Breaking: the US military has officially begun its blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. So first they said that they want to open the strait. Now it's funny, they're trying to block the strait, and what they're trying to do is block any Iranian ships actually, and thereby hurt the Iranian regime, blocking them from exporting their oil. So the US says that the blockade will be enforced impartially against vessels of all nations entering or departing Iranian ports and coastal areas. The US forces will not impede freedom of navigation for vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz to and from non-Iranian ports. So if they go to Qatar, the UAE, Abu Dhabi, Saudi, they can go through. Basically, prior to this blockade, Iranian ports were largely operational, with Iran exporting over 2 million barrels of oil. So basically, they're trying to hurt the Iranian regime. They're trying to allow the Gulf oil to exit and let the Iranians have what they did to the others, essentially. So here we have a picture of the ships, actually. And we can see that there's a lot of ships, and globally, the shipping industry is massive. I mean, you can see how many vessels are out there. And the Strait of Hormuz is a key point. We know that 20% of global crude oil goes through the Strait of Hormuz. It being blocked costs a lot. And we've seen oil prices gone up tremendously. Oil prices are over $105 per gallon right now, per barrel. And here we can see that the Strait of Hormuz traffic has plummeted. This is a nice chart. We can see from 1st of March onwards, actually, how much the transit numbers have reduced. Before we had consistently over 100 transits a day, and now we have around less than 10 transits a day through the strait. Now the next thing I want to talk about is that Trump has made a post, and what he's basically saying is that, let me read just the summary here. If any of these ships, so he's talking about these Iranian fast attack ships, which they have not previously targeted, if any of these ships come anywhere close to our blockade, they will be immediately eliminated, using the same system of kill that we use against drug dealers and on boats at sea. So he's basically warning them, the blockade has started, and this is giving the market confidence again. We can see that the S&P 500 has erased all its losses and turned green on the day as the US begins its blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, giving the market confidence that the US is again in power. And also we can see that over the last 24 hours, even though we had the worst possible outcomes, which is the worst possible outcome to the Iran peace talks and the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, US oil prices are up to $105. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 is down less than 0.5% today, after rising more than 5% prior to negotiations on hopes of a peace deal. So we are not going down. It looks like the market is confident. The market knows that we're gonna have inflation. Inflation is gonna stay high, and we have the AI revolution. And what this means is that we need to own assets. We need to invest in the markets. You cannot be selling and holding cash. If you have cash right now, as the oil prices are going up and this causes inflation to go up, you're going to be losing money. So you have to own assets, very importantly. Now, last two things to talk about Bitcoin again. We know that we're in a bear market, and I just want to reiterate this point here that we are most likely going to break down as we have done before. We have here $126,000, broke down, $97,000, broke down. We're again at rejection areas where we're going to most likely break down. And I said we're going to hit the bottom end of September, beginning of October of this year, which is 364 days after the peak. And finally, Michael Saylor has bought another 2,300 Bitcoin today, and this is 5 times more Bitcoin that has come into circulation today. So he's buying more Bitcoin than new Bitcoin comes every day into the market, which is a huge supply shock, and this we know will increase prices eventually. Once the market and more people start talking about Bitcoin and buying Bitcoin again, this demand squeeze, this squeeze is really going to push Bitcoin up very soon, and therefore I don't think Bitcoin is going to crash much this cycle. That being said, see you next time.